How many years have you been a police officer?
Well, I spent 21 years in the New York City Police Department.
Mm-hmm.
And I retired in 1985, and I was recruited by the Organized Crime Task Force in New York State, where I've been since 85 when I retired. In 1973, I got promoted to sergeant. I got transferred back to Harlem again. That was it. And I worked in East Harlem for 2 years, and there I was in charge of a neighborhood police team, and also I was the intelligence officer for organized crime matters within that precinct, because that precinct was one of the headquarters of the Mafia. They had their social clubs there. They still do. In fact, the commission case that we made at the end of my career, one of the major locations where we had a bug was on 115th Street, just off First Avenue in East Harlem. It's Little Italy, it's East Harlem, it's in Brooklyn, it's in Queens, but the main ones were East Harlem and Little Italy. Now, in April of '78, I went to the Chief of Detectives' office in police headquarters, where I was made the commanding officer of the Organized Crime Homicide Task Force. Now, my job there was to investigate gangland slayings. For the most part, the Italian Mafia, but it developed into the West Side Irish. And, while I was there, we solved 82 homicides. In 1985, and I decided to retire after we made the commission case. And that's the case where we took down the heads of the 5 families. They're all convicted. They're all doing 100 years.
100 years,
By Tony Solano. They're all in jail or dead. Castellano, of course, was killed before he was convicted. Yeah, he got the ultimate conviction. With the mob, had very few apprehensions about the mob. I'll tell you why. The Mafia historically shy away from killing law enforcement people. And most of the time when they do it, it's an accident. For example, there was a cop killed in Queens a couple of years ago named Anthony Vendetti. He was killed by a guy named Fritzi Giovanelli. That was a total it was a mistake. He thought he was a hitman, and
they thought the cop was a hitman?
Right, and they killed him because of that. And it was right after Castellano got killed, so they were all carrying heat. And they're figuring, here comes a guy who looks like a mobster, but he was a top tail in them. And he had a gun, and they had a gun, and they panicked. And they killed him. Well, so when I was doing mob cases, it was very rare that we were concerned about getting killed or hurt. Although you can always get hurt. But wise guys is a game. Okay? Catch me, fuck me. Okay? If you got me good, I'll play the game. I respect you, you respect me. For the most part, the good ones. The second reason they don't like to kill cops is that it brings too much heat on them and screws their business up, and their whole being is controlled by the dollar sign. And if you kill a cop, you know you got problems. It's going to cut it drastically into your profits. The other crime bosses want to get rid of you because of what you did, so they don't need that kind of stuff. So they shy away from killing police officers, judges, prosecutors. Once in a while you get one, but it's normally an accident. Well, John Gotti is a creation of the media. During the Gotti trial, I was down there for the Gotti trial, and I'm sitting in a cocktail in an Italian restaurant on Mulberry Street. In fact, it was G and Bones where Gotti would go every day. We know the owners very well because it's right across from the DA's office where I work. And I would see Gotti's lawyers coming out while the jury was still out, arm in arm with reporters, female reporters. And then they would get on television and glorify John Gotti, who was nothing but a thug. I mean, it's just outrageous. I know him a long time. He's always been nothing but a stick-up man and a thug, an evil person. He hasn't got the IQ of a marble. But he took over that family by coup d'etat, by killing Castellano. I mean, he arranged that hit so he could take the family over. And for years they wanted to kill Castellano, but they weren't allowed to because Emilio Delacroce, who was the underboss in the Gambino family, wouldn't let them because he was from the old school. He would respect routine. He dies. 10 days later, they kill Castellano. Okay? And then Gotti became the boss. Gotti wears $2,000 suits. He gets his hair cut every day. He gets managed. This is no bullshit. When we had the bug in this place, we get his hair cut every day. So the media shines to a guy like that because he wears expensive clothes. He's flamboyant. On the other hand, that type of behavior pisses the other mob bosses off to the degree where they already put one hit out on him, and it was stopped by the FBI in Newark. And he'd be dead today if it wasn't for the fact that he's got built-in bodyguards. Built-in bodyguards meaning the FBI, the New York City Police Department, my office, because we tail him all the time. If we left him alone, they'd kill him. But the media has made him a star. You know the case is there. You know he did what you're accusing him of. There's no question about it. And the evidence is there. If you didn't have the evidence, you wouldn't be in the courtroom to begin with.
Right. Yeah.
Because you couldn't get that far. You couldn't get past the grand jury without the evidence. And then you got to get into a jury's head. Why does a jury acquit a guy like this? There's a lot of reasons. The media hype, the Gotti myth, where they made him a hero. They make him a Robin Hood. But that's all pre-designed. But he's not the only one that does that. They create a fortress in their own. They're literally a fortress. Almost impossible to get in and put bugs in. No? I mean, we do it. Sometimes we get lucky, but they control the people around them. People around them think they're heroes. Even with the Irish mobsters. There was a major Irish criminal for years that I had put away. He was finally murdered. His name was Mickey Spillane. They loved him. To this day, people that I know since I'm a kid come to me and they're pissed off at me because I put Mickey Spillane away. He was a murderer. He was everything you would think that you wouldn't want your kid. And here they are, the heroation. Oh, Mike Spillane was a terrific guy. He wasn't a terrific guy.
What about the quote, the famous 3-1, I beat this guy, he says?
Yeah, he said that to me. I got in trouble over that. What happened was, the night we captured him, there was 4 of us there. There were 3 New York City detectives and me. There were a lot of other people. We actually grabbed him. And he had a big belt buckle on. Okay? And when I was tossing him, I feel a belt buckle and I thought it was a gun. So I said, you got a fucking gun on you, right foot. So I go to throw a left hook at him, and there was a police sergeant there from the police department, so I'm no longer, but Joe, don't hit him. So I don't, but it was just a buckle. So we put him in a car. He says, what are you doing? He said, 3-1, I beat this fucking case. You know, he was like arrogant. I said, save your money and stick your money up your ass. But anyway, he would have won. Let me tell you why they respect me, the bad guys. You know about corruption in the police department. You've heard it over and over, and it exists, it still exists. It's not as organized as it used to be. When I went into the job, my father was in the labor union business. He was an organizer, so he was like on that side. He told me the day I became a cop, he said he didn't want me to become a cop, and I did. He says, look, if you ever take a nickel from these people, they own you. So I live by that. I never took their money. That's one of the main reasons they respect me. They tried, but I never took their money, ever. So that's why I live in Levittown. And I was Joe Frazier's bodyguard for both alley fights.
Really?
Alley fights.